Trevor Phillips thought he was being clever, trying to skewer the Chancellor with a quote from Liz Truss. Some would say the government had been talking down the economy and it's all been doom and gloom since taking office, while others would say they've actually been realistic about what they were left and the state of the public finances. Whichever side of the fence you sit on, today was a clear indication that things are about to change, to be in a more positive outlook going forward. I do wonder if that means we're going to start hearing less about the £22 billion black hole. Only time will tell, I should imagine. However, talking about the Pan-European Mediterranean Convention, or PEM for short, Trevor Phillips tried to catch the Chancellor out by comparing her to Liz Truss, the woman who actually crashed the economy and raised everybody's mortgages. The Pan-European Mediterranean Convention will make trade a lot easier with the EU. Without rejoining the actual single market, it's a sort of agreement that allows country to circumvent the places of origin requirements for trading. So in a nutshell, it means that if you're part of the PEM, it's accepted that the place of origins for your trade is in line with the standards of the EU and therefore cuts a load of administration, form filling, red tape, that sort of thing. Which in the long term will make things a lot easier for businesses to trade and in turn boosting economic growth. I think Trevor Phillips was trying to say that Reeves is the same as Truss and that all she does is talk and there's no action. And although Reeves didn't actually realise who the quote was from, I think she made her point pretty well that they're actually getting on with the job. But I still have faith that we are going to see growth and people's lives are going to get a bit easier.
One good way in which you might boost growth would be to increase trading with our biggest trade partner, which is the EU. Yeah. There is a thing called the Pan-Euro-Mediterranean Convention, which it is said could make trade not frictionless, but much easier. Are we going to join?
Well, it was really interesting to see Maroš Šefčovič this week suggest that Britain might be welcome.
The EU Trade Commissioner.
Yeah, the UK might be welcome in that pan-European and Mediterranean customs framework. And we are absolutely happy to look at these different proposals because we know that the deal that the previous government secured is not working well enough. It's not working well enough for small businesses trying to export. It's not working well enough for larger businesses either. We're grown up to admit that, whereas the previous government said there were no problems at all. And where there are constructive ideas, we are happy to look at those, as long as they're consistent with the red lines that we set out in our manifesto.
So that relationship is something that you will look at positively and seriously?
Yes. Last month, I was the first UK Chancellor to attend the Eurogroup of Finance Ministers meeting in Brussels. That's all about resetting our relationship. You're absolutely right, Trevor. If we want to grow our economy, we've got to boost trade, not just with European countries, but with countries around the world, whether that's the US or fast-growing economies like India, China and the Gulf countries. But we want to do that because it's good for British business and therefore it's good for jobs here in Britain and working people in Britain.
I could pick away at all sorts of individual things, but I want to try and get
an idea. You can see a theme here. We want to grow the economy and go further and faster
That is exactly what I want to do. I want to see if I can sum up the Iron Chancellor's approach to growth. Let me put a quote to you. We must break down the barriers to growth built up in our system over decades. Decisions take too long, burdens on businesses are too high, infrastructure projects get delayed for years and years and years. As a result, we have seen economic growth choked off. Actually, what you've been saying this morning sounds very like that. Would you agree with that?
Well, what I would say is we are doing the things. We're not just talking. Everyone would agree that we need to see economic growth and it's been choked off. The difference between governments of the past and this government is we are doing the practical things, whether it's on regulation, whether it's on planning reform, pensions reform, or indeed boosting trade with our nearest neighbours and trading partners. We're doing practical things to get that growth, not just talking about it.
But you recognise who this comes from, don't you?
I don't know who that's from, but what I'm saying...
Liz Truss, and it sounds... The message you've given me this morning sounds really familiar.
Apart from Liz Truss and the numerous Conservative Prime Ministers and Chancellors of the last few years, didn't do the practical things that were necessary to grow our economy. And that's the difference, because one by one, we're removing the barriers that have stopped businesses from investing for too long in Britain. We're going to turn around this performance. I'm determined to be the Chancellor that brings growth back to the UK economy.
OK.
Kemi Badenoch has reset her party 3 months into a job, now claiming that the party is under new leadership. Not quite sure who's been leading the party for the past 3 months since she was elected, but hey, the Tories always like a good slogan. This week she put out a very cringeworthy party political broadcast trying to make herself feel a bit more human while sitting in a kitchen that's larger than some people's homes. So I decided to react to it. So if you actually want to see my face and me getting a little bit cross with Kemi Badenoch, then click the video that's on screen now. Thanks for watching, don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see you next time.